conversations. Before I introduce my guest, I want to explain why I am wearing sunglasses today. I had a cataract operation this morning. I should have let this big eye patch on, but that would look rather unsightly, so I took it off, and I'm wearing the sunglasses to kind of give me some protection for my eyes. Last fall, Joel and I were doing our Thursday night volunteer thing at the Crystal Theater here in town, and a young lady came in asking for information, and she was so perky and so much fun. I sat down and chatted with her, and I thought, gee, I'm going to just ask this person to be on the show just because she's fun to talk to. And as it turned out, she was out here from New York. She was involved with a group that we're going to talk about. And one thing led to another, and I'm not interviewing her. I'm interviewing the lady who is the head of this group. And so today I'd like you to meet Natacha Kolever.
Kolever.
Kolever?
Kolever.
Kolever. Natacha, you lead your group from Canada currently, is that correct?
Yes.
And what part of Canada?
It's in British Columbia, 400 kilometers, it means 300 miles south from Calgary.
How many?
The Kootenay Valley.
And I'm sorry?
Kootenay Valley.
Kootenay Valley, all right. How many people are there on a permanent basis? Or
On permanent basis, we are between 60 and 70. Then we have all around the year many visitors, because we have a big enough group of young students, people, so then they have their friends, and we are few teachers, so we have some friends too interested in this kind of new education. So then we have very often visitors. So we are around maybe 80, 100.
I would like to go right to something. People ask who it is that I'm going to be interviewing and how I got involved, and I say, well, it's sort of a cult, but it's not really. Could we go to that? How do you see yourself and this group in terms of a general purpose, let's say? Your people don't live there on a regular basis. Their lives are not totally determined by the group. Is that correct?
What was the purpose, the goal? That we were maybe 4 or 5 educators, and we were looking to create a space with convenient conditions for teenagers. All of us, we had children at that age, so 8 years ago, we tried to find a land and to introduce all different activities to their development. So we know that now humanity will receive, and already receiving, new energies, because we changed the astrological sign. We are finishing the Pisces, and we are entering in Aquarian age. So with these new energies, all our life will be transformed. And if we are looking today on youth, it's little bit it's a suffering vision. I was teaching for all my life, so I know a little bit what is their interest, what they need. So we try to create something complete that they can nourish their thoughts, their feelings, and their action.
One of the things I was most impressed and really sealed for me that I wanted to talk to you was I was sent a copy of your CD, and was just blown away by the quality of the music and the quality of the performance. And part of your mission, I should say, involves an artistic approach. Is that correct?
Yes, we have like official organism, which is IDEAL. IDEAL is the abbreviation for Institute for Educational, Art and Leisure Program. So because we have to see, we have to know how human being is what are our composers. So we have to nourish everything what we have. And till now, the point was especially on intellectual nourishment. If we see what happens today, so the intellect was overnourished, but the heart undernourished. That's why through the humanitarian tradition, we can find that the music always was one of first elements in educational programs. But we have to know that there are two kinds of music. There is destructive music and constructive music. We have some energetic centers in us, in our body, not just physical, but we have some other bodies, like etheric body, emotional body, mental body. So how we can nourish all these elements in us, and the music is the nourishment especially for our feelings. If we study classical music, the biggest, the most famous composers, they always brought something new for humanity. Beethoven, Mozart, they structured by their music our feelings. Our feelings are like watery matter. We have to frame them. And in this matter, we are not very evolved. So initiatically or through the inner development of human being, it was always known that the music is extremely good builder, because whole universe is based on the laws of the music.
Natacha, could you tell me a bit? Now, the music that I heard on this CD, I didn't recognize any of that. Is that composed by people who are involved with your group?
It is composed mostly by a master or by a real human being who is the master of harmony. And the music was composed the end of 19th and the beginning of 20th century. But the base of this music comes from the past. We call it musical tradition or sacred music. So he was very, very knowledgeable and very, very profound in this matter. So he composed, he was a very good clairvoyant and clairaudient. So he captured probably some pieces from the space or from other levels, and some of them are in Adamic language. It means the most ancient human language. Then some of them are in other later languages. So we cannot even translate each word. We can just understand the meaning, the general meaning. And the influence of these sounds on our bodies and our being is incredible.
I want to stress for my viewers who, I hope, trust me, that this is music that is very, very high quality. There's going to be a concert here in Missoula next month, I believe?
Yes, the 20th of October.
20th of October, and that's going to be a free concert, as I understand it. I mean, I'm sure one can donate if they'd like.
Yes, free donations because of students.
And it's going to be at the recital hall on campus.
Yes.
And I'll try to run this show close enough to it that perhaps we can stimulate some interest in people coming. I also heard when I was in the car with Suzanne a different type of music. There was some chamber music. Is that correct?
Yes, we have some instrumental pieces.
Where do you get musicians of the quality to perform these? Are these members of your group, or are
All
you?
are members.
These
of
are
our
all?
group.
Because these are first-rate performances of rather difficult music. I was quite impressed.
We are singing every day, a few times. We have courses.
I should say that you also are starting a group in Victor, Montana.
Yes, there is, in Victor we have a international foundation, ISWAR, and the goal is to propagate this new idea about the new education. And for now it's like a nursery. So we hope that little plants, we could transplant them everywhere. And especially the most important work will be done with the pregnant woman. It's prenatal education, because during the pregnancy, the future mother is extremely powerful with her thoughts, with her way of living, with her meditations, with her influence, beneficial influence, of course, extremely powerful to create what is the best for the child. And what will be introduced in a new educational program, it will be the knowledge about the soul, because the soul is like a princess, like a mistress, directed always everything in our lives, and we can communicate with our soul. So the mother, for the mother, future mother, it will be very easy to communicate with the soul, to know the program for whole life for the child, and then the mother can give the best material because of a good way of living.
Natacha, obviously not everyone in the group is going to be pregnant and having children.
No.
How does this all fit together? I mean, you're preparing, in essence, a curriculum of sorts that is directed at unborn children.
We have to create.
At what point does this happen? Do your followers, when they're about to conceive, see where I'm going with this? At what point does this happen? And
we have to create the best conditions for this work, because the mother by herself, she can find many things, but if there is already something prepared, especially the beautiful pictures, good lecture, good books, especially wonderful music, so she will be impregnated by this beauty. Then the child is nourished. Then the ideal, the thoughts, the goal, the manifestation of the child will be completely different. And I don't think that we were created to become criminals. I think that we were created, if we know a little bit the Holy Scriptures, to become perfect as our Heavenly Father is. So that's why in the future, and there was some predictions that in the future humanity will advance extremely in a spiritual way, and to know more about our inner life. So that's why, to create the best conditions for the future mother, we need some musicians, we need the beauty, we need the singers, we need the good workers, we need the models.
I visited down in Victor, and it's a beautiful place. I saw a book on communal dance there. which
have
came
dance.
out of your group. Could you tell me a bit about that? These are large numbers of people dancing together in open areas. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. It is another part for our development because we need not just think correctly or feel correctly, but also act correctly. And if we want to do that, we have to be first in harmony with our heavenly motherland, to be in harmony with the cosmic currents, because we receive this nourishment from the universe. And this is a kind of sacred dance, and each movement is the expression, is it connects us with always with cosmic currents, and then we feel really like you give to your car the fuel, you give a nourishment to your car. So our body needs a special nourishment. If we give to our car the honey or milk, it will not work. But if we give what it needs, so it will work perfectly. And even there are leaded, unleaded, super, etc. So we have the possibility to capture, to receive super energies. So why not?
Natacha, could we ask a bit or go back a bit to you personally? The accent comes from, you were born...
I was born in Russia, and my father was Orthodox priest, but my mother was from Slovakia, Czechoslovakia. And then after Stalin's death, we could leave Russia, and then I lived in Czechoslovakia. I finished my study there, and I was teaching at the university for a few years. Then I left after the events of Prague in 1968. I left for Paris, and I stayed a few years in Paris. Then I lived in Philadelphia, in the United States, and then I moved to Montreal.
You were there then for the Prague Spring,
Not directly, but I was in Czechoslovakia.
but you were there when it opened up, and then the
Yes.
Soviets came back
Oh,
in
yes.
and said, no, you're not
I
going
was
to be
there.
as open as...
I was there, I saw them.
You saw the tanks, and
Our friends, our brothers.
that was quite a point in history.
Yes, but we are on another point now.
Yes, goodness, one...
Yeah.
You said you taught, and you went to school. What was your emphasis in school?
Oh, to transmit what
Well, but you must have attended courses in specific fields, philosophy.
philosophy, and sometimes languages, but especially philosophy. But not with the centuries, but with the years. With the years, I discovered initiatic philosophy. Initiatic, it means inner. It means how to know ourselves and how to work with the potential, divine potential that we have in us. So the initiatic philosophy is so complete and so profound that all our human philosophies are, it is also human, but very, very, very profound. I think it's divine. So there is human philosophy and divine philosophy. And what will come in Aquarian age, that everybody will discover this divine philosophy, how we are, what is the goal of our coming on the earth, what happens after, what happens later, what happened before. So it's so it's so complete that you have no words to express it.
You had predecessors and teachers, as I understand it.
Of course.
Some rather well-known or important. Would you care to mention a few of those people?
Yes, the master who composed the songs, for example, he was a musician. He studied in Boston, for example. He was also a doctor, and he was a violinist, musician. His name is Peter Dönov. And one of his disciples, he was from Bulgaria, one of his disciples, Mikhail Ivanhoe, came. He was sent to France, and he founded there his school. So I knew through the books. I knew him first through the books, then directly. I met him many, many times. So they are really spiritual teachers, and they transmit us this divine philosophy, how to become perfect being, how to become what was the purpose of the cosmic intelligence for us.
You're rather implying that there is a source through that we can connect to in our current being, as opposed to dying and finding out the great mysteries, that there's an untapped source and that you and your followers are trying to reach that. Am I getting somewhat close to that?
I think that everybody will reach this vision, because in the past we had it, but we lost it because of our way of living, and probably there was maybe a special program for us to go to deeper in the matter, to master everything with the physical matter. But now we have to return and to go to know more about our inner life, inner world. So everybody will discover it, because through the centuries and through the millenniums, it was always known that some people could be healer, clairvoyant, clairaudient. So it's nothing new. And for example, when you are dreaming during the night, it is a clairvoyance, but nocturnal, but it must become daily from the day.
Diurnal, but we don't use that word very often in English.
It exists in the dictionary. So diurnal, it will become, and that's why the Aquarian age is extremely with a huge promise.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have this vision of the past, of the future, and even vision of the present life will be complete, because we don't remember. We have few kinds of memory. We have the memory from the past, it's subconscious memory. We have conscious memory, and then we will reach superconscious memory. So then our vision will be complete. If you take anything in our daily life, for example, the movie, the cinema. In the beginning there was no cinema, no electricity, no camera, nothing. A little light in the street, that's all. So darkness. And with a candle, little by little, we advanced. Then just with the electricity, can you imagine how far, how huge step humanity did just with the electricity? But our electricity is from the earth, like transformed, of course. But there is cosmic electricity, and we have already the antennas for this electricity. So can you imagine when we will capture this cosmic electricity, what we will know, see, and do? And if you take a child from first grade, second grade, third grade, so they know a little bit. The whole country is working for these children. The Ministry of Transportation, of Education, of Heat, of Electricity, etc. Everybody is working for this future of humanity, children. But they don't know how their country is structured, for example. They don't know about many things that an adult can know. So our present consciousness in a cosmic vision is a little bit childish. Childish and childs. So we will go further, we will know much more, and we will become the citizens of the universe, because it was we are predestined to become.
Natacha, I am gay, homosexual, and I've lost, I remember losing a friend because I said that the most important thing in the world was bearing children. And it seems to me you're touching on what I meant, is that all of our civilization, our society, is born by this continuous cycle of children being born, raised, dying, and more coming in, and that we don't put nearly enough emphasis on how those children grow up. And not just going to school, but more basic things. It seems to me that you are addressing yourself somewhat to that very issue.
Yes, it was always very important point for me. For example, when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I worked during summer vacations with a doctor, a wonderful woman. And in Russia, there is not too much of hospitals at that time. So I went with her to different houses, and I was like a little helper for her. So I just was asking myself. I knew very little from the Bible, for example. I remembered the simple phrase that we have to become perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect. So I saw little children dying, 3 years old, 5 years old, 17 years old, with incredible sicknesses. And I asked myself how this child can become perfect in a so short time with a so incredible inheritance, or I didn't.
This is Stalinist Russia we're talking about.
Yes, I didn't know how the situation was like that. And then, if we see nature, we can see always something is renewed. We have seasons. We have cycles. Even in our life, we have different cycles. We have different seasons. The fall, the winter, or the golden age. The youth, it's spring. So I was very intrigued how it works. And in Orthodox songs, religious songs, when a soul is leaving the body, it's clearly we know that the soul leaves the body, and the soul, like dove, is going somewhere. And I was interested, where is this somewhere? Where the soul is going, in a beautiful country. And what was very special, parallelly for me, that all my life I had incredibly beautiful dreams. It was for me like really a parallel life. Almost every night I visited different planets. I visited even another galaxy. So it was there was a lot of questions. how everything works and why each star could still on its place and it seems like perfect order, and why on the earth sometimes we cannot reach, we cannot maintain this order. So with these questions, finally, I discovered the initiatic science, and through my dreams, and my dreams became conscious visions, I just understood that in the universe everything is perfectly organized, and maybe we will leave something for next time. So
These were nocturnal visions. Did they become diurnal visions, since we're
Yes.
using that word?
Yes. For example, I was speaking to somebody, and the lady explained me something about her husband. And suddenly, the image, it's like a movie, but more alive and more beautiful and more bright. The image came, and I see her husband, and she continued to explain me, and I could see his brain, what happens in some centers, and that he was after an accident. I saw the wounds. Then I saw how his vision will become weaker and weaker, but it will be very temporary, just for 6 months. Then he will recover everything. So I cannot not believe what I see. And everything, when I explained to her, she said it's exactly like that. So this is about the person living now. But for example, once came a young lady. She is the daughter of a doctor in Montreal, and she was violated by two young men. And she explained the details, and she said, I cannot accept it. I would like to know the reason, why it happened, and why to me. And first time in her life, her car was not working, so she did a stop, come on. And two young men took her and brought her somewhere behind the city, and just she was violated. And she said, I was looking for the answer with the priest, with the psychologist, with the psychiatrist, and I couldn't find the reason. And again, during her explanation, I saw her in one of her past lives. She was an officer in Genghis Khan's army, a wonderful man, but everything was permitted to them. So she met in a village a couple, and as an officer, she came in their house. She attached the husband on something, and she violated the young woman. And then the lady was pregnant, so she gave life to a child. And imagine the same couple, now they are two friends, two young men.
Mm.
So she met them just once. The young man who was in the past, the husband, attached her, and the woman who was violated her now. And the child that came from this violation, she must give him life. So in the beginning, I was always extremely surprised. It is like that in some drastic or tragical cases, but even in very simple gestures, circumstances in our life, there is always a seed, a reason why it's like that to me or to you or to somebody. Everything has a sense, a meaning, if we see what we put as a seed, as an action in the past.
Natasha, do you know the poetry of William Blake by any
Yes,
chance?
I adore him.
You set me thinking about Blake because Blake was someone who had diurnal visions. I think we should use diurnal more often. He, at a very early age, saw angels sitting in trees. He, at the death of his brother, saw his brother's spirit come out of his body, clapping his hands in joy. I point that out to an audience who might find what you're talking about a bit strange. You're not the only one in history who...
No. And there is a lot of cases like that.
Do you have, you and the people who support you, do you have a dogma, a doctrine? Is there something that one must follow?
There is a certain discipline, but the most important word is harmony. Harmony with nature, harmony with ourselves, harmony with other people. It's harmony first. And then to maintain in harmony our thoughts, we need like hygiene, like a mental
discipline, I think, might be a better...
Mental discipline. Today, what everybody uses, it's the word yoga. Yoga, it's some methods how to reach a higher level, how to contact the divine world. So if you want, it could be called like yoga. But in reality, we have to find or a physical master or see in nature what could be a model for us. Maybe a tree. Why not? If we put a seed, if we put carrot seed, we cannot expect the salad. It will give just carrots because that's the law. So sometimes through the development of our intellect, we put different seeds and we are expecting completely a result. It doesn't go with the seeds, you know. We put bad seeds and we expect good result. So it is against the cosmic law. So there must be a discipline, mental discipline, what kind of thoughts we nourish. Then maybe we can take as example the sun. The sun is heating, giving, warming, everything in nature, human beings, somebody who is right, somebody who is not, somebody who to our eyes is a bad person, but we don't know if he's really a bad person. So we can find a lot of models if we want. Then some purity for our feelings. What we feel, how we feel, what we send to other people. Now everybody knows that the human beings have an aura. Aura? Mm-hmm. Aura, and we can feel through the aura of the people how is the person. You know, we feel well, we feel comfortable, or we try to go further. So in our aura, we express this purity, this mental discipline, this purity of feelings, and then even our gestures, our actions, how they are. Are they harmonious? Do they bring something comfortable, something good, something enthusiastic to the people, or they will cut this enthusiasm? So for each level there is like a yoga. For example, the morning we have breathing exercises, physical exercises, to bring to the physical body what the physical body needs. The songs, the music, it's Shakta yoga, it means the yoga of the sound. Because everything in the universe is built by the sound. So that's, we can call it yoga, but in reality it is a discipline to harmonize our cells, our systems. We have different systems. Nervous system for today needs really good food, good nourishment. Because the speed of the life, many questions non-answered, understood. So through this discipline we discover how everything is wonderful.
Natacha, I want to go back to this point because I think it's important. Is there, for instance, you implied that you believed in reincarnation.
Of course.
Can one join you in your work without believing in reincarnation? At the particular time one joins you, I guess what I'm saying is, are there tenets of 1, 2, 3 that one to be with you, one has to accept certain
I think
beliefs?
that everybody can, but with time he will discover it. Simple like that. Like somebody is not a musician, but he starts to know the notes, then to sing a little bit, then to do more and more, then he can become, because in our heart we are all musicians. So that's the same thing, because we didn't have maybe the possibility to discover it before. So we will discover it, and everything will have a meaning. Then the life becomes something wonderful, very well prepared, planned. We have just to follow this planification of the soul and to be happy.
Is there a name for your group, a shorter name, let's say?
Ideal.
Ideal. But then would one say one's an idealist? Or is it unimportant to put a name to it?
I think it will be ideal, harmonious person. There is really, we didn't think about that. It's nothing special. But we must have a hope, of course, and a desire really to discover ourselves, our place, what is our place in this huge world, in the universe, on the earth, and how we can be useful, how we can serve. Because for this philosophy, humanity is one organism. The countries are the organs. But how to harmonize them? I think that we can do it just through the individuals. So it is like individual development, advancement, and little evolution, and then everybody will discover how universe is structured perfectly, because it's divine structure. So God cannot be unperfect, or he cannot do something that is wrong.
Well, then you definitely believe in a intelligent life force.
Of course.
All right.
God's intelligence is the best, the only one.
What about religious figures through history in different religions? How do you feel about Christ, Buddha, Muhammad?
Oh, wonderfully. For each epoch, for each grade, like in a school, for each grade we receive a spiritual guides, spiritual leaders, And they bring for humanity what, for that time, for that centuries, for that even space, physical space, countries, civilizations, what we need. For example, if you imagine a mountain, and all around the mountain there is a path going up. But in the beginning, all human souls are there, down. Then we started to go up, little by little. But if you have 120 sportsmen running marathon, there will be just one gold medal, one silver and one, but they are running, all of them. So humanity is going like that on this evolutionary mountain, going up. But some people, some human beings are a little bit further. Some of them are a little bit behind. So for each part, during this ascension, we receive the teachers, the instructors, the guides, and the best, the most famous, like Buddha, like Moses, like Jesus, like Orpheus. Orpheus was musician. And our consciousness was not ready to understand intellectually, so he transmitted the same knowledge by music. Moses brought the laws, because humanity was like a little child. You can do that, but you cannot do this. So the commandments, precisely, exactly. But we have to ask ourselves how we accomplished these commandments today, 1,000 years after. So for some people, the same commandments are very actual. Then later, a part of humanity went further, and Jesus brought not the commandments, not the laws, but love. To love other people, to love everything, to love everybody. And it is working inside this love, because it's the best cosmic element. Whole universe keeps together because of love, divine love. But it works inside, but it's not big enough, not strong enough. But it will come. It will become like a real tree. But for now, it's a very little plant, this love.
You speak of souls, and that's part of the linguistic connections, as if they were separate. The soul, I assume for you, has connections to larger forces. The soul, or maybe I'm wrong, the soul does not exist as a separate entity as the body exists as a separate entity.
No, our souls are like drops of a cosmic soul, which is like ocean. So each drop has the same qualities, the same potential, the same power as cosmic soul. And the cosmic soul, through this divine philosophy, we will discover that the cosmic soul is Christ. And Christ embodied Jesus for 3 years and a half. And he accomplished incredible work for whole planet. The planet was penetrated by this cosmic love, cosmic soul, Christ. And what is now our work? To prepare our fields, mental field, emotional field, physical field, and we can receive the same thing. It means the same love, the same particles And this is, we call it, second coming of Christ. Everybody will receive Christic power. But that's why we have to be prepared. So the religions through the past is a real, it's like pillars. Mm-hmm. They maintain, they support a huge temple, but the temple is not finished. We have to put the roof now.
How do you see yourself in this process?
Like a little particle, working, trying, serving, to go a little bit further for myself and for the people that I meet every day. And I adore the people.
I think that's as good a time to stop as any. I've really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Me too.
And I could go on a lot longer, but I think
thank you very much.
We've given people out there an idea of what you are about. I want to especially stress this concert that's coming up in October. Believe me, this is some incredible music and incredibly performed. And by all means, don't miss it. If one were interested in finding out more about your philosophy and teachings, what would one do? Contact?
Yes, just contact the ISWR in Montana. They will receive the answer.
Tell you what, we can perhaps, when we edit this, we can put an email or something up there, and maybe we can try to put some music from the CD.
If you can, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.